So good evening, Kal Kadosh. We were continuing, if you remember, we are on Shemot, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Vav, when it says, Vayamot Yosef v'chol echa v'chol adorahu, that Yosef passed away and all of the people of his generation as well. And now we're going to do as follows. It says, Vayamot Yosef v'chol echav. Yosef died at 110 years. So we made a calculation last time that the maximum of the time of the subjugation of the Jews that was in Mitzrayim was 116 or 117 years, because since Levi was the last one that passed away, and we know that Miriam was the first one that it started the subjugation. So she was born 86 years. She was 86 when we know that Moshe Rabbeinu went in front of Paro. So Moshe was 80, Aaron was 83, and she was, according to some opinions, 86, 87. So therefore, it was 86, and she was called Miriam because of Aymareru et chayehem b'avodah kasha. They made their lives bitter. So that's where it comes the word Miriam from. Now it says over here like this. So the Chaim HaKadosh comes and he says, why does it have to tell us the death of Yosef twice? Yeah, Madua chazar pam shniya leodia mitat Yosef. We already said it. Vaychi Yosef, and then it says Vayamot Yosef. That was the end of last week's Parasha. That's question number one. Question number two. What does it help now that it died, the brothers and then the entire generation? Number three, what's the connection between the death of the brothers and the next one where it says Bnei Yisrael started multiplying? What's the connection? They died and then they started multiplying. You wouldn't say it that way. Then he comes and he says another question. What's the reasoning why it says, right, that if it's going to tell us that we multiplied, so it should have said Vayifru vayishretzu bnei Yisrael, not bnei Yisrael paru varu, right? You first say they were multiplying. Who was it? The bnei Yisrael. So he comes and he says something like this, and he says, really be'emet, there are bet ketubim habayim ke'echad. This is a very famous concept, brought down in the Gemara, which basically means that there are two psukim coming to teach you the same thing. Right, we just actually had that in the Daf Yomi 2 days ago, if you remember. It was Shnet Ketuvim B'Yim Ke'echad, and when you have two things, two Ketuvim B'Yim Ke'echad, whether it was Nazir and the Chatat, so therefore you couldn't learn from it, right? That was the concept that we just learned in Daf Yomi. But here it says like this. Here it says it's Pasuk Vav and then Pasuk Zayin. But Pasuk Vav it says Vayamot Yosef v'chol echav, and then also Pasuk Zayin. What is it coming to teach you? It's coming to teach you how exactly everything started. And really, be'emet, there were 4 different levels. That's what we're going to learn. 4 different levels. Level number 1, mitat Yosef, the death of Yosef. So he says, why? When Yosef was alive, right? If he was alive, yaspik shalim shluba mitzrim. They wouldn't even touch it. Nothing. The Egyptians are going to do anything. Nothing to do with it. Halamata shekozman Yosef chayam hayu Yisrael beretz Yisrael sheketim unagim. They were enjoying themselves in Mitzrayim. When Yosef was alive, they were protected. Don't worry about anything. Then what happened is mitata achim. So first it was the death of Yosef. Then it was the mitata achim. Why? Because as long as one of the achim were alive, the Egyptians, they respected them. They actually respected them, right? They actually came and they respected the Jews. Look, you still have this big guy. Yeah, he's a Jewish, but one of the top guys. They respect him. Gimel, mitat kolador. Who's mitat kolador? The entire generation, all the 70 people that they came down to Mitzrayim. Because all of them, right? It says, they wouldn't have been able to do it. Whether it was because they were bnei de'ah, right? They wouldn't sell themselves for that, meaning they wouldn't buy the entire nonsense of the Egyptians with perach, right? Fine. Now he says, or then he says, Daled, ubnei Israel. What does that mean? כלומר, אם לא הייתה הרגשה גדולה שפרו וישצו ותמיד לארץ אותם, לא היו נותנים לב לבקש תחבולות, אלא ההרגש הגדול הוא המסובב הגלות. Which means that we were the cause. We were the cause of everything. So the first thing is the death of Yosef. Then the death of the brothers. And then the death of the entire generation, which is the 70 people. And then the last one was, we filled up the land. Because we were the ones that caused everything. Because once we filled up the land and we gave them this hargasha that we're all over the place, right? We're everywhere and anywhere. So now all of a sudden it's going to cause problems. That's why it says Uvnei Israel, and it doesn't say right Vayifru Vayishitzu Bnei Israel, because it doesn't tell us about the numbers. It's telling us the cause of the galut. The cause of the galut was step by step. First, Vayamot Yosef v'chol echav v'chol adorahu. Then Bnei Israel paru v'yishitzu. It doesn't tell us the numbers of Bnei Israel. If it was just going to tell us a numbers game, it would have told us vayifru v'yishitzu v'yirbu v'yatzmu v'mod me'od Bnei Israel. It didn't tell us that. It told us the causes of the galut. First it was Vayamot Yosef, then it was chol echav, then chol adorahu, and then Bnei Israel, because we were the ones that we went all over the place. Now he says, yeah. So he says now as follows. He says this is all the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. He comes and he says, "V'im tomar im ken lo elo lomar hakatuv elav Vayamot chol adorahu." Right? Just say the entire generation passed away. You don't have to tell us about the Bnei Yosef and the Nechav. Just say kal v'chomer. So he says no, but it's telling us a sweet sequence of events in order that we actually understand what's going on. Fine. Now he comes and he says, yeah, as follows. So that was the previous. This is the pasuk of Vav. We already did pasuk Zayin. And now at the end of Pasuk Zayin, after it says, "V'nei Yisrael paru v'yishitzu v'yibu v'yatzmu mimum me'od, v'timale ha'aretz otam." What happened? The land was filled with them. The Ibn Ezra comes and it says, why does it say v'timale ha'aretz? Which aretz? Huh? Very good. Hakavna l'eretz Goshen. That's what I would have thought. No? Why not? Very good. Says, very good. Omnam behemek davar the netziv. He comes and he says, the kavanah l'eretz Mitzrayim. Yeah, it's Eretz Mitzrayim. But think about it. That the land is going to be filled with them. What do I care? If all the Jews, yeah, is, however, though the hemek davar comes and he says Eretz Mitzrayim. So it's not only Eretz Goshen, because Eretz Goshen was full of Jews, obviously. But even Eretz Mitzrayim, which that was for the Egyptians, the entire land became full of Jews. When it says otam, it means with them, not otam them, with them, because im is with, otam is not with. Okay, there's a difference. Wherever they found an empty place, wherever they found anywhere, Jews were buying lots. Jews were buying houses. Here, they were filling all over the place. And that's why it says in Makab Bechorot, Upasach Hashem ala petach. There's a very famous question. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to pass over. What's Passover? Pesach. Pasach Hashem. Now, 1 second. If Batei Bnei Israel were in Goshen, what do you have to pass over? You knew the Jews live in Surfside. Where do the Goyim live? In Bell Harbor. Yeah. Now you have to come and you have to tell me. Yeah. Yeah, now you're going to come and you're going to tell me, yeah, you're going to come. He's going to come and he's going to say, yeah, it's an example, yeah. So the question is, are you going to come and you're going to tell me now that you have to do Pasach? Well, you have to pass over. Passover what? You know where the Jews are. You know where the Goyim are. Baka to no. It was because the Jews were within the Goyim. You understand? That means the Jews also had the houses in Bal Harbor. You understand? They were also there. They had everything. So he comes and he says, "Uba katuv lagdim, b'zeh sibat sinat mitzrayim v'gazat hamelachu." But this is teaching us why they hated us. Why did they hate us again? That means again, it's all a flow. The entire pasuk from last pasuk, even this pasuk, it's all teaching us why did the Egyptians hate us, right? It started from Bnei Yisrael, paru v'yishitzu v'yizruah, and the v'tivna retzotam. They wanted to go against Israel Saba. They wanted to go against Yaakov Avinu. Why? He went and he told them, Goshen Dafka. The Jews only in Goshen. That's what Yaakov Avinu told us. In order that we should be separated, segregated from the Egyptians. That was the original plan. They didn't want to. And not only that, they stopped doing Brit Milah because of this reason. They said we should be like the Egyptians. It was once they're living together, they wanted to be equal. You understand? Now remember, nowadays you would think to yourself, why would a Jew want to do that? And the answer is very, very simple. Once upon a time, you have to remember, it was a bathhouse. Every single house didn't have a bathroom in your house, right? Everyone had a bathhouse, and in the bathhouse, you went to take a bath. Now there, it was like a thing about the mikveh nowadays. People didn't think about it nowadays. Now they go, hey, you're going to mikveh? But the mikveh, the men are running around and you're going to tell them what? This only happened now for millions of years until the last 50 years. That's the way it was. You didn't realize that? Everybody had that. There was no such thing as a bathroom in your house, right? Everyone had a bathhouse. So now you're going to go to a bathhouse, and obviously the Jew looks a little bit different than the goy. And I'm not talking about because he has a kippah, but he doesn't have a kippah in the bathhouse, or he doesn't have the tzitzit in the bathhouse. What is it? It's right. So what happened? They wanted to come. They wanted to stop doing brit milah. They wanted to be like the goyim. Velo yunikarim shema. They didn't want to be recognizable. They're Jewish, right? Umishum ze bira midrash, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu went. And the midrash says, "Hafach Hashem libam lisnoamo." HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he changed their hearts, and now all of a sudden they hated the Jews. That's why it says, "Upatach Hashem lepetach." Rashi says in Parashat Bo, right? V'chamal v'yesh lomar v'dileg. What does that mean? They're both true. So he says, "Ukvar b'yanu b'sefer bereshit al pasuk ki ger yeh zaracha asher hi hasiba shebechol dor v'dor amnim lechotenu." Why is it that every generation they want to come and they want to destroy us? Because we don't want to act like gerim. We don't want to act like there were strangers in land. We want to act that this is ours. And the fact that the second that we do that, that's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu changes the heart. He changes the hearts, and all of a sudden now it becomes that they hate us. Okay? So the next pasuk, Vayakom melech chadash al Mitzrayim, asher lo yada et Yosef. So obviously, what's going to happen? There's going to come a new king. Now this king does not know at Yosef. Vayomer limo, and he comes and he tells his nation, Hava nitchakem lo, we're going to come. Look at this nation. They're too great. They're greater than us. We're going to have to become very smart. Yeah, Hava nitchakem lo. So listen to this. Yeah, this is also Rabbeinu Bachayai. Yeah, the Ramban and the Tur. Listen carefully. Celebrate like this. What is the Hava nitchakem lo? We're going to become smart. What do you mean we're going to become smart? Yeah, when was the last time you saw, right? He said, what's this becoming smart? He says, Sheba'u alehem hamitzrim ba'alilot. So the Egyptians came with libels against them. Techila b'mamonam. At the beginning, they went against their money. That's why it says, they came tax collectors. Taxes, nobody's going to go against you. Right? It's normal. Governments always take taxes. I'm going to take taxes. That's the first thing that every government does. Yeah, the first thing is taxes. Afterwards, we'll speak what we give you. Yeah, but the first thing, you give us the taxes. Have, give me everything. Yeah, I still remember that it happened. I don't want to mention in which city, but this is not Bal Harbor, right? That they come and they want to take a tax. What's a tax? There's not enough parking in the city. So what do? Right, you want to make a Bet Knesset for sure, but you need 30 parking spaces. For every parking space, you have to pay $35,000 a parking space, and it goes into a special fund. Yeah, Keilu, Yanu, one day we'll build that parking space. After a million years, maybe. Understand? Taxes, the first thing, no. You know what? Let's do the opposite. When you guys build the parking, then we'll pay you. The first thing is you give. That's the number one. First thing, you pay taxes. Afterwards, let's speak about what I'm going to give you in return, if I'm ever going to give you something in return. So he comes and he says, first, a tax, number one. It's not because of hatred. It's normal to take ma'as on anashim. Then it started with their bodies. That's why it says, so he did it purposely. If you're going to ask right now, Paro, what are you trying to do? I have one mission in life. You know what it is? Making sure that they're not fruitful. I want to give them hard, like back-breaking jobs. They don't have strength. They don't procreate. They don't multiply. We don't want too many. There are too many in the world. Yeah, and in the olden days, they never thought of what the Chinese did. Yeah, make a rule. One child per family. Yeah, anyone else, boom. In the streets, all of a sudden you find, I don't know how many children, nobody knows father. They didn't do that. So what? It was too many numbers. So they didn't want. Yeah, once upon a time, they would make a rule. Now they find a virus and boom, just kill out a whole bunch of people. Yeah. So what happens? So he says, he says when a person is going to come and he's going to work very, very hard, he's going to be weak, and it's going to minimize the semen. But 1 second, it did the exact opposite. The more that he made them work, the more that they multiplied. So what happened? So then, the more that they afflicted them, they became even more fruitful. Therefore, he went and he put on them to kill them. So he says, right? He says, 1 second. Why didn't he do it from the beginning? Why did he have to become smart? Just be cruel from the beginning. From the beginning, boom, we're going to kill them and that's it. Yeah, but he says, no. He says, you know what that is? When you're going to have people coming to live in your country and you're going to kill them out, it was a busha. It was an embarrassment. It was a big ida. What? Everyone's going to speak about. Look at this guy killing out all the people instead of accepting them. Yeah, it was too much. It's not going to be good. So therefore, he never wanted to kill them with farhesia. He didn't want to kill them publicly. So what did he do? He wanted to be smart and to destroy them quietly. He didn't want anyone to find out. Therefore, what did he do? How do you kill them without having people find out? How do you do that? No. No. The maidservants. They kill the babies. And it was the middle of birth. All of a sudden, it came out dead. What happens? Especially in the olden days, it happened much more than the stillborns were much more than nowadays. So he says, so that's why he purposely did it. He tells them, kill all the boys. If it's a boy, kill him. He commanded them, keep it quiet. Nobody's allowed to find out. Why? Because nobody's going to find out. Yeah? So he says, yeah, he says, not only the Egyptians, nobody's going to find out. So he says, which are the actual Yoldot themselves, the ones that are giving birth, they wouldn't even know. Because they're going to say, look, he died and that's it. Okay, fine. Yeah, but what happened? Because they were afraid of Hashem, they were letting them live. So now they had to come and they had to reveal it to the Egyptians. Then he comes and he tells his nation. But the Jews still didn't know. It didn't work even after that. So what happened? Look at the order of events. Did anyone ever pay attention to this? Yeah? You guys knew this? I didn't know it. Right? I'm just learning it now. Right? Or actually when I prepared it. But yeah, the Memlas brings it down. Okay, but these are the Ramban, the two. What's going on? You had an entire order, a sequence that people don't even pay attention to. You think it was overnight? It wasn't overnight. And by the way, you should know Hitler, was the exact same thing. Well, you think it was overnight? He came into power, and the next day, all of a sudden, boom, we're killing all Jews? It would have never sold. It took many years after years after years, and inciting hatred and putting hatred and putting hatred and good. Yeah, 10 years. But remember, he was very smart. He was very, very smart. Here, it could have also taken. We don't know how long it took. What? Yeah, he knew. But the Jews still didn't know, because when a Jew would come and he would complain, they would say, "Bring edim, bring witnesses," and then we would try to find out. And then, so what happened? They used to go into the Jews' houses to look for the kids. And therefore it says, she couldn't hide Moshe Rabbeinu anymore. So therefore it says, why? Because every man, right, every woman, right, everyone knew what was going on. So what happened? So now they weren't able to do anything anymore. So what happened? So what happened was, by the time of Aaron a Kohen, it still wasn't there. So look, there was a difference in the times of the decrees. Because when Aaron was born, he was able to be born and there was no problem. It was only when Moshe. Ulai Bat Parosh, she was so merciful, right, that she didn't want to do this. Yeah, fine. And therefore they come and they say, yeah, like this. Okay, fine. Everything which was done, it didn't help whatsoever. Because there was a bracha and everything that happened. And therefore he went and he put them where there was a ketzemach hasadeh, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu came and he saved us, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that was this. One more. Okay, then it says, so he comes and he says, we have to become smart. How do we become smart? This is the order. Yeah, first, taxes. After taxes, the body. Even after the body, when he was trying to do it, right, they were still multiplying. So he says, okay, fine. So now we're going to start killing them. But we can't kill them out like that. So he had started with the maidservants. After the maidservants, nobody still knew. Then only the Egyptians knew. Then only after the Egyptians, then the Jews knew. By the time it came to the Jews knowing, it was already after, how long of steps after steps after steps. Huh? By making them work. First it was work, physical labor. Afterwards it was death. First it was physical labor. Okay? Then it says, the kasher yanu oto keni b'mechinifrot v'ikut b'misel. They were discussed by the Rabbi Yisrael. So it says, "Vayvidu mitzay Rabbi Yisrael befarech." What is befarech? So everyone knows. Yeah. So it says Tosafot Tzachim. Shamati me'aram sheyesh b'midrash sheb'mitzay medu b'hem befarech uparech be'atbash is vagal. Vav gimel lamed. Yeah. Right. But it says befarech. So parech is vav gimel lamed. What is vav gimel lamed? Lamed is 30. Vav is 6. Gimel is 3. So 39. So he says over here, Shehem melachot 40 chaser echat, shenigelu mimitzrayim yizirem ala Shabbat lishpo motan lametet melachot. To make them, so he says that once you leave Mitzrayim, now you guys are going the same lametet melachot. What was the lametet melachot that they did? The ones in Egypt. They made them work in Mitzrayim, the 39 melachot. So on what? No, also on Shabbat. They made them work the 39 melachot. So when they left, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and tells them, those 39 melachot, now you're going to keep them for me. Refrain from them on Shabbat. The lametet with lametet. Right? Everyone knows the famous ones with perach, but I want to give you chidushim, not only just that. Okay? That's 49. It's 49. Yeah, 49. That's fine. Yeah, fine. And the last one, it says Gersina besota. The Gemara in Sotah Daf Yud Aleph Amud Bet says Amar Rava. Betchila bechomer v'venim v'vasof v'chol avodah basada. Beginning it was with all the different things, and then it was v'chol avodah basadeh. What does that mean? Amar Rabbi Shmuel ben Nachman and Rabbi Yonatan she'im achivim lechet anashim lanashim. They switched the men's work for the women's work, and the women's work for the men's work. The Rambam actually says kol eved ivri asur la'avod bo befarech. Ve'zu avodah parech. Zu avodah she'en la kitzba v'avodah she'eno tzarich la. Yeah, this is the worst. Now, why is this worse? Because this is exactly what they were doing. It comes and he says, you know what is befarech? You're not allowed to make a person work to no ends. There's no limits, plus something that there's no gain from it. Right? There's no purpose in what they're doing. So he says, Mikan amru chachamim. So he says, why? Because you're not allowed to do these things. So he says over here, but that's exactly what they were doing. They were exactly doing these things purposely. What does that mean? They know, by the way, you should know, they did this in the time of, I think it was I don't know if, I think it was in Russia when they were doing this, right? But there was a guy that they put him in Siberia. I think it was in Russia, or maybe it was also in the concentration camps. But what did they do? They were coming and they were going around with a windmill. Again, he was doing it for years and years and years, and he was going like this and working and working and working. It was heavy, and all of a sudden they went, and I think right when they were going to be liberated, they went and they took him to the other side. When they took him to the other side, it was just the same thing, just going around. There was nothing there. It was just purposely there, just for one thing and one thing only, just to make him work, just for nothing. It killed him. He died just because of that. What does that mean? At least a guy, if he's going to become a slave, he wants to know that at least what he's doing is something productive. But if he's going to be working for nothing, and it's just like that, that actually killed him more than anything else in the world. And that's why that's what he was doing. He was doing that. That's what the Gemara says. At the beginning was why? What is farech? Don't. You have, it doesn't matter who it is. Whether it's going to be an eved ivri, whether it's going to be a worker. Right? You're going to come and you're going to have a cleaning lady. Don't come and just tell her, just clean. What just clean? Clean what? No, just clean. Continue cleaning. No. Give them a limit. Give them to this, to this, to this. Right? And make sure that it's something productive. Because if you're going to have it, anything, that's called avodat parech. It's called a difficult labor. And a person has to be very, very careful in what they're doing, but that's exactly what the Egyptians did. We continue tomorrow.